Any questions from last week before we get going to this week? Okay, well, so we'll get going. And so actually, I should share the screen. Is that sharing the screen working, or do you prefer to read from your own book or your own screen?
I have my own book, Prabhuji. We have the book. Doesn't matter, but everybody can give their own opinion. Depends if somebody have the books or no.
I think everybody has books, but it's a question of preference. So any thoughts from other people?
We have the book, Prabhuji.
Okay, all right.
So you don't have to do, Prabhuji, unnecessary work,
And I appreciate that, because it is inconvenient to let me see. Okay. Just one second. I'm just sending some notes to somebody who's looking for the link. Okay, all right. So, all right. So we are going to start with 2.87. Adi Lila 2.87. So second chapter, text 87. So remember, this is still Brahma speaking. He's trying to convince Lord Krishna that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that Narayan and other famous incarnations, they all originating from him. Okay, so, and he's giving different arguments, quoting from different shastras, including Bhagavatam, where it says Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam. He's doing that. Instead of talking about all the incarnations or his plenary portions. Excuse me. And he mentions Purusha avatars especially because they are more famous ones. And then he's now saying that some people still don't get it. So in 287, now he's talking directly to people who don't agree with him. So what is he saying here? विरुद्धार्थ कहतो में कहते कर रोष तुम्हारे अर्थे अविमृष्ट विधेयांश दोष. Translation: you say something contradictory and become angry when this is pointed out. Your explanation has the defect of a misplaced object. This is an unconsidered adjustment. So again, referring to the Krishna to Bhagavan Swayam, and it's saying that, look, if somebody...
Could you please tell me which one you are reading now?
87, text 87.
87. So thank you, Prabhuji.
Everybody there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Sorry, Mataji, did you ask a question? Ruchira Mataji, do you ask a question?
No, Prabhuji, no. Everything
Okay.
is fine.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So he's basically referring to these people who are arguing that Krishna, instead of Krishna, Narayan is the original. So he's basically saying that, you make no sense, and then when somebody points it out, you get angry. He's talking directly to people who don't believe Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then text 88, Jar Bhagavatta hoite anyere Bhagavatta Swayam Bhagwan Shabdere Tahatei Satta. Only the personality of Godhead, the source of all other divinities, is eligible to be designated Swayam Bhagwan, or the primeval Lord. So nobody else can be called Swayam Bhagwan. Krishna, the God himself, that is the primary or primeval Lord. 89, Deep Hate Jache Ho Bahu, Deeper Jwalan, Mool Ek Deepataha Kariya Ganan. Translation: When from one candle many others are lit, I consider that one the original. Purport. Somebody wants to read the purport?
I can read it, Prabhuji.
Go ahead, Keshav.
The Brahm Samhita, chapter 5, verse 46, state that the Vishnu Tattva, or the principle of absolute personality of Godhead, is like a lamp because the expansion equal their origin in all respects. A burning lamp can light innumerable other lamps, and although they will not be inferior, still the lamp from which the others are lit must be considered the original. Similarly, the personality of Godhead expands himself in the plenary forms of the Vishnu Tattva, and although they all are equal powerful, the original powerful personality of Godhead is considered the source. This example also explains the appearance of qualitative incarnation like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, Sambhoshtu Tamo Dishtvanvat Kajya Suksham. Prabhu, can I lead this?
Okay, go ahead.
The Shambhu Tattva or principle of Lord Shiva is like a lamp covered with carbon because of his being in charge of the mode of ignorance. The illumination from such a lamp is very minute. Therefore, the power of Lord Shiva cannot compare to that of Vishnu principle.
Right. So, thank you. So this is referring to another verse from Srimad Brahma Samhita. It's text 46. It says, Deepachirevi dashantaram abhipetya, Deepayate vivrathir saman dharma, Yastadagevucha Vishnu Taya Vibhati, Govindam Adi Purusham, Tamam Bhadam. So saying, Brahma is saying that just like you take one candle and light 10 candles with it, then all the 10 candles have the same power, same potency. But this is still the original candle. So Krishna is the original candle, and all the expansions, the plenary portion, plenary expansions, have the same powers, but still they're coming from Krishna and the original. And then he starts talking about the qualitative expansions, and we'll talk about them. I've got a slide that I'll show you. So how many qualitative expansions are there, and who are they? Anybody knows?
3.
Madhumata,
Total are 3. One
What?
is the Vishnu. First one is the Vishnu, and the other is Brahma, and then is the Shiva.
Okay, and what mode of quality they show?
Vishnu is from the mode of goodness. Brahma is from passion, mode of passion, and Shiva is from ignorance.
Okay, so not they're from, they're in charge of.
In charge of.
Because
So,
Lord Shiva is never in mode of ignorance, right? He's in charge of mode of ignorance.
in charge. Yeah.
Similarly, Lord Vishnu is not in charge of mode of goodness, because that's material. So what is in charge of?
Pure goodness, Shuddh Sattva.
Yeah, correct. Mode of pure goodness, which is not material. And so here, Prabhupada is explaining in the purport that Lord Shiva is a special expansion because his power is not the same. So he's not a plenary portion of Krishna. Neither is Lord Brahma. Lord Vishnu is, but neither Brahma nor Shiva is plenary portion. They have much less power. And so the example in the purport Prabhupada is giving is as if a lamp is covered by carbon. Have you seen a lamp where the glass is all full of carbon? So the light that comes out is a very small amount of light. But if we clean the glass, then it's fine. So Lord Shiva is like the lamp whose glass is, the covering glass is full of carbon. So very little light is coming out. So which means compared to Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna, Lord Shiva's power or potency is very small. Is that point clear? Madhu, what are you thinking?
Yeah, no, it's okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay.
I was thinking about my mistake of saying from.
That's okay. No, it's okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's go to 90. तैसे सब अवतारे कृष्ण से कारण और एक श्लोक सुन कुव्याख्या खंडन. So now he's saying, okay, I'm going to give you one more verse to contradict what you are saying. Again, talking to people who don't agree, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation. Krishna in the same way is the cause of all causes and all incarnations. Please hear another verse, defeat all the misinterpretations. Okay, so I'm going to read these two verses. They're from Srimad Bhagavatam, but we're not going to spend too much time because a lot of detail that you don't really need to know. So, Atta Sargo Visargascha Sthanam Poshan Mutayah Manvantarashenanukatha Nirodho Muktir Ashrayah Dasamasya Vishuddhi Artham Navanam Ih Lakshanam Varnayanti Mahatmanah Shuten Narthen Kanjasa Changisa. Okay, so translation. Here in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10 subjects are described. So this is talking about the 10 topics that are discussed in Srimad Bhagavatam. How many topics are discussed in Bhagavad Gita?
5.
5. What are they?
Atma, Paramatma.
Mhm.
Atma, Paramatma, Jeev,
Jeev. Atma is Jeev. Atma is Jeev.
Jeev.
Jagat. What is that called? Prakriti.
Yeah,
Prakriti.
more material nature, yeah.
Material nature.
Yeah.
Kala, time.
Yes, absolutely type. What's the last one?
Action.
Yes, karma.
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 Yes. Okay, so those are the 5. But in Bhagavatam, there's 10 topics. So what's the first topic? The creation. Second, the secondary creation that Brahma is doing. Third, maintenance of creation. 4, special favor given to the faithful. 5, impetus for activity. 6, prescribed duties for law-abiding men. 7, description of the incarnations of the Lord. 8, the winding up of the creation. 9, liberation from gross and subtle material existence. And 10, the ultimate shelter, the Supreme Personality of God. So basically the point being made is the 10th item is the shelter of all others. So in other words, all of the first 9 are residing in the last one, which is Shri Krishna, Lord Krishna. Okay. So we're going to skip the purport. We'll go to text number 93. Ashray janite kahi enav padarth enaver utpatti hetu sei ashrayarth. To know distinctly the ultimate shelter of everything that be, I have described the other 9 categories. The cause for the appearance of these 9 is rightly called their shelter. So all these other 9 are coming from Krishna. He's the starting point. So he's the starting point in what sense here in this case? As Mahavishnu. He's the one starting the whole thing. The primary creation, then Brahma comes, the secondary creation, and so on and so forth. Okay. If you have any questions, ask away, because otherwise let's keep going. 94. Krishna ek sarvashray, Krishna sarvadham, Krishner sharire, sarva vishwera vishram. Personality of God is Shri Krishna, the shelter and abode of everything. All the universes rest in his body. So again, we talked about Mahavishnu, all the universes coming in him, from him. At the time of annihilation, everything goes in him. Okay. Excuse me. 95. Dashame dashamam laksham mashitashraya vigraham Shri Krishnakhyam param dham jagat dham namah. Sorry? Haribol?
Haribol.
Somebody's trying to ask questions.
Haribol. Haribol.
Yes?
वाह भाई वाह ये बड़ी गल हैगी तुहाडी
Okay. All right. I'll keep going. So translation of 95. The 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam reveals the 10th object, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the shelter of all surrendered souls. He is known as Shri Krishna, and he is the ultimate source of all the universes. Let me offer my obeisances unto him. So Krishna expands to Mahavishnu, where all the universes are coming from. Okay. Text 96. Krishna Swarup or Shaktitraya Gyan, Jar Hoy Tar Nahi Krishnete Gyan. One who knows the real feature of Shri Krishna and his three different energies cannot remain ignorant about him. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some slides up. Otherwise, again, reading these purports will become very confusing. And so let's see. Okay, I'm going to share the screen. And okay, can you see it?
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay,
Yes, Prabhuji.
so good. So basically, it's talking about the three main energies of Krishna. Potency is another word we use. So three potencies of three energies of Krishna. So the first one is called Chit Shakti. It's also known as Swarup Shakti. It's also known as Antaranga Shakti. In English, it's called internal potency. Okay.
In
Now,
English, called what?
I'm sorry.
In English, what is this called?
Internal potency.
Internal. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Now, what are its roles? So first is sustains unlimited Vakunthas and the spiritual world. So, not trying to confuse you too much, but the internal potency also has three features, and that are, if you look at my cursor here, Sandhini, Samvit, and Ladini. Okay, Sandhini is the one that is sustaining the unlimited Vakunthas and the spiritual world, as well as the existence of Krishna himself. Okay, Samvit is the knowledge potency of Krishna, by which he knows everything, by which he allows us to know him. And Ladini is the pleasure potency, and as you know, it allows Krishna to enjoy different mellows. It enjoys his devotees to enjoy different mellows with him, and the personification of Ladhi Shakti is who?
Radharani.
Radha. Absolutely. Okay. Internal potency comes in 16 features. One of them is Lila Shakti. Lila Shakti is the potency by which Krishna performs his pastimes. Okay, so that's the internal potency. Then you have the external potency, or Maya Shakti, or Bahiranga Shakti. They're all the names of same external potency. Is that causes the innumerable material universes to be populated. But it cannot touch Krishna. Even when Mahavishnu glances at it, he's not touching her. It's just a glance falling upon her. Its jurisdiction is outside of the spiritual world. There's no jurisdiction of Maya or external potency within the spiritual world, only in the material world. And it comes in two features also. Gunamaya is the three modes of material nature. Again, what are the three modes?
Mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance.
Right. So that's the Gunamaya part. And then Jeev Maya. This Jeev Maya is the potency of external potency that does two things to the living entity. One is called Avarana Atmika, which is the hiding potency of Maya. In other words, it hides the identity of the Jiva from him. It also hides the identity of Krishna from him, from Jiva, and the relationship between Krishna and the Jiva from the Jiva. So that's the hiding potency. Second is Prakshep Atmika. That's the call, it throws you away. So this is the one that pushes the living entity away from Krishna. It's called Bahirmukh Hoya. It makes the living entity turn away from Krishna. Okay, so that's your external potency. And then the third potency of Krishna is us, marginal or Jiva Shakti. We call marginal because we could be under the control of either external or internal potency. Okay. So not only all the expansions, but also the three energies emanate from Krishna and rest in Krishna. Okay. Any questions on this? Because that's the purport of text 96.
Prabhuji, is in the Jeev Maya, Avarantmika and Prakshepikatmika isn't the same? Because one is turning away and the other one is making a human being forgetful of Krishna.
Well, so how is
Isn't
it
it
the
same?
same? No, it's not. Avaran is basically
Very-
hiding.
Very close.
Okay, close, yes, because part of the same
Hmm.
energy. But Avaran is basically hiding your identity of Krishna, and identity of the relationship. Kshepatvika is sending you away from Krishna. Yes, you can say it's sending you away because it hides it from you. Yes, that's correct. But they are different.
They're different.
Right?
Okay,
So, for example, it can manifest as allurements, material desires, material things, and then you get pulled towards that. That's the pulling away from Krishna is the Prakshepatmika Shakti.
This is the most effective Shakti.
Sorry, Prabhu?
This is the most effective Shakti of Krishna. Because people are not getting into his feet.
People are not what?
People are not getting into bhakti.
Yes, because of the external potency, correct.
Yeah.
Lucira Matu, are you correct? Okay on that?
Okay, Prabhuji. And what did you say about the marginal or Jiva Shakti? The third one?
That's us, living entity. And
that's us.
We are known as marginal because we could be, and it's our choice, either under the external potency of Krishna or internal potency of Krishna. So a lot of times we are walking on the fence. Idhar jaun, main udhar jaun. Okay?
Okay.
But we have the choice all the time. All the time we have choice. Okay? And we are making it all the time.
Okay, I have a question.
Rajan, go ahead.
Might be a stupid one.
No, there's nothing stupid.
Prabhuji, these Shaktis, they are not, so that's impersonal, right? There's no personal feature to any of these Shaktis.
No, it's energy. Energy by definition is impersonal.
Yeah, okay.
Krishna is not impersonal, but the energies are by definition impersonal.
Okay.
Right? And that's why even Brahma Jyoti is considered to be impersonal, even though it's the rays of the body of Krishna.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. So Ladni Shakti, like Radharani has the Ladni Shakti, or
No.
how?
She is the personification of the impersonal Ladni Shakti.
She's the personification. Okay.
Correct?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's do text number 97. Krishner Swarupe hoy Shad Vidhi Vilas Prabhav Vaibhav Rupe Dvividhi Prakash. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to read next few verses, just the verse of the translation, and I have the slides to explain them, because if I go through these purports, I guarantee you'll be confused. And if I don't do that, you'll probably be still confused. But probably still confused is better than guaranteed confused. So I've got the slides for you, okay? The translation of 97. The personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, enjoys himself in 6 primary expansions. His 2 manifestations are Prabhav and Vaibhav. So we'll come back with the slide. 98. Ansha Shaktya Vesharupe Dvividhavatar Balya Pauganda Dharma Duito Prakar. His incarnations are of 2 kinds, namely partial and empowered. He appears in 2 ages, childhood and boyhood. So that's the 6 manifestations we'll talk about. 99. Kishore Swarup Krishna Swayam Avatari Krila Kare Eichai Rupe Vishwabhari. Translation. The personality of Godhead Shri Krishna, who's eternally an adolescent, is the primeval Lord, the source of all incarnations. He expands himself in these 6 categories of forms to establish his supremacy throughout the universe. Text 100. Each hai rupe hoy ananta vibhed, ananta rupe ek roop nahi kichu bhed. In these 6 kinds of forms, there are innumerable varieties. Although there are many, they are all one. There's no difference between them. Okay, so I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to put the slide that I've been promising you. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so first 2 manifestations of Krishna. One is called Prakash Vigraha, other is called Vilas Vigraha. So Prakash Vigraha is that Krishna manifests in different forms, but they're all identical. So the example is when Krishna expanded his Ras Lila, in Ras Lila with the 3 billion gopis, everybody thought he was with them only. And that's the Prakash Vigraha, because it's identical. There's no difference between one Krishna and another Krishna. Similarly, in Dwarka, he married 16,108 wives, and he was with them individually all the time. And so that's again an example of Prakash Vigraha, because there was no difference between Krishna with Satyabhama, or Krishna with Rukmini, or Krishna with Jambavati. Okay, is that clear? That's the Prakash Vigraha. Then you have Vilas Vigraha, where you have various forms of Krishna there, but they're slightly different. So first example is Lord Balaram. What's the difference between Lord Balaram and Krishna?
Balram is the left hand expansion of Krishna.
No, but what's the difference between the two?
Color difference.
Color
Color.
They
difference.
are the same.
Correct.
Complexion.
Krishna is milky white. Sorry, Balaram is milky white. And
Uh-huh.
Krishna is black.
Balram is.
Okay.
Yes.
What's the difference in Lord Narayan and Krishna?
Chaturbuja
Narayan is 4-handed
hands
and
and
Expansion of the
two-handed in blue.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
So Krishna and Balaram are, Krishna and Narayan are same, but there's a difference in the body form. So the 4 forms, 400. Chaturvyu. Who is the Chaturvyu?
Good.
Huh?
Sorry.
I'm sorry. We talked about it
What's
before.
the question?
What are Chaturvyu?
Chaturvyu 4 expansion of Lord Narayan, the first quadruple.
Yes. So what are the names?
Sankarsana, Pradyumna,
Pradyuman, Sankarshan, Anirudh, and
Vasudev, Shankar,
Vasudev.
Pradyumna, Anirudh.
Yes.
Anirudh.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Correct. So Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna,
Anirudh.
Aniruddha. I love it. The Punjabi pronunciation is Pradyumna. So Hindi is Pradyumna. They're both correct. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it sounds interesting. Okay. So now Vilas Vigraha also has 2 manifestations. Again, Prabhav and Vaibhav. So Prabhav is the fully potent like Krishna, and Vaibhav is partially potent. And so I've given some examples. Narayan is Vaibhav, partially potent, Matsya, Kurma, etc. Otherwise, they're non-different. So that's one point. Okay. Second point is the 6 primary expansions talking about. So we talked about Prabhav and Vaibhav already. Then there's Anshavesh, which is partial incarnation, also known as Swansh. So when the power is not exactly the same, but there's no other difference, then it's called partial incarnation. So for example, what are the 4 qualities nobody has? Only Krishna does.
Each Lila.
I'm sorry, Vichara Mataji?
Most
I'm
beautiful.
sorry, I'm
most-
No, sorry.
he's
Let
Chalia,
Krishnamurti go
he
first.
tricks.
Sorry?
He's Chalia, he tricks, which
No. So out
which
of the 64 qualities,
Lord Ram didn't.
the 64 qualities
Okay.
he has. Up to Narayan, you have only 60, but there are 4 that's reserved for Krishna. And they're known as
Playing flute, one,
yes. Flute is
and maybe his smile.
sorry.
His smile,
Smile, okay. Beauty.
beauty.
So, fruit, beauty, and
Having a peacock feather.
no.
No. It is something to do Madhurya, Prabhu.
All 4 are Madhurya. So you got Roop Madhuri, you got Venu Madhuri. There's 2 other Madhuris. So Lila Madhuri and Prema Madhuri.
Mm.
So those 4 qualities nobody has. Okay. Then you have empowered incarnations like Narad Muni, Kumar, Anantashesh, Parashuram, Prithu. They are empowered incarnations. So they are actually living entities, but they get picked and get special powers. And then Krishna also does his pastimes as a child. So it's Balya Avastha, which is ages 1 to 5. It's also called Kaumar, not Kumar, Kaumar. And boyhood, which is Poganda, ages 6 to 10. So Krishna does his pastimes in those ages also. Very few incarnations of Krishna do that. So for example, Lord Ram did, Lord Chaitanya did, Lord Nityanand did, but very few. Lord Balaram, of course, he did that, but very few. Okay. So the other point is that there are unlimited forms in these 6 expansions. Second point is, what is Krishna's eternal form? Anybody knows?
What's the question?
Sorry?
What's the question?
What is Krishna's eternal permanent form in Golok Vrindavan? Krishna Swayam.
Satchitanand?
No.
Prabhuji, he's
Shyam
16.
Sundar form.
Shyam Sundar.
He's 16 years Shyam Sundar form.
16 years Shyam Sundar.
Correct. That's correct. So just under 16, not quite 16, 15 years, few months. That is his eternal form. That's what it's called Nitya Kishore, and Radharani is not called Nitya Kishori. So
Yes.
Nitya Kishore Kishori. And that's the form we worship. The Gaudiya Vaishnavas, that's the form. We don't even worship Vasudeva Krishna. Krishna in Dwarka. We don't even worship Krishna in Mathura. We worship Krishna in Vrindavan. The one with the peacock feather and flute and standing, 3-folded form. That Krishna we worship. Who steals butter. Okay. And he's the source of all incarnations. Now, just a side question, just a pop quiz. It just came to my head, so I'm going to ask you. What form of Lord Chaitanya do we worship?
Bhakt Swarup, like Bhakt form.
True,
Devotee
but
form.
that's true. But I'm talking about the bodily features. Like
Both hands up like this.
Okay, but there's
Some
something.
Kirtan type, like the always remembering Naam Jap Kirtan.
Okay. So, what was his name? Sorry,
Gauranga Mahaprabhu.
Gauranga.
No, I'm not asking
Gauranga.
for name. I'm not asking for his name. I'm asking for what form, what stage of his here in material world is exhibited in the form of Lord Chaitanya that we worship. Is it before sannyas or after sannyas?
Before sannyas.
Before sannyas.
Okay. Then why we call him Shri
In the
Krishna
mood
Chaitanya?
of Radha Rani remembering Krishna.
No, Mati, don't go there.
After sannyas.
Question is much more simple than that.
Okay.
It's just much more simple. So don't complicate.
Okay.
So he has taken sannyas. That's why we call him Shri Krishna Chaitanya. That's name after sannyas. Right? So he's taken sannyas. But do we see him as sannyasi form? Do we see sannyasi form of Lord Krishna Chaitanya?
No,
No,
we
no.
always decorated him nicely.
Sorry, Keshav Sekar?
We always decorate him nicely.
And what
nicely
about on his
clothed,
head? What does he have on
nicely.
his head?
Long hairs
Long hair.
with crown.
Does sannyasi have hair?
No.
So this is
Amar Avastha, Prabhu.
the form of Lord Chaitanya immediately after sannyas, but before he shaved his head.
Oh.
Okay, and why is that? Why do we worship that? And not after sannyas with no hair? Because for 24 years he had no hair. Like I heard
That's the
longer no hair.
most beautiful form, Prabhuji.
Sorry, Prabhuji?
That's the most beautiful form we
Yeah,
can.
Prabhu, so you are right, Prabhu. It's very painful for devotees to see him without hair. Like at least when he was doing that, everybody was crying like anything. And even later on, people were just crying seeing him without hair. It was beautiful hair. So we worship the form of Lord Chaitanya after sannyas, but before he cut his hair.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was very painful.
Oh.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for sharing. I don't know that.
There
Actually,
you go.
yesterday I was changing my Nitai Gaur Sundar and I was talking to him. I was just asking him, like saying to him, how do you look like with shaved head when I remove his hairs? He said, no, you don't look like nice. You should be long
There
hair.
you
And I
go.
was thinking, how you look like when you were taking sannyas? No, no, you shouldn't be a long hairs. You look more beautiful and handsome in that.
That's right. Exactly right.
I didn't know that. Which form I'm worshipping, but I like the long hairs and decorated
Oh, yeah.
nicely.
Yeah, that's right. And that's how most devotees feel, and that's why we're worshipping that form. Okay. I have this slide, this extra slide. And I won't go into too much detail, but there are 6 kinds of incarnations. Okay. Purush avatar, we know about that. Right?
Yep.
Good avatar, we know about that. Lila avatar, we know about that. Manvanta avatar, we may not know. Okay. Yuga avatar, we may not know. Shaktavesh avatar, we know that. Okay. So that's why I put down the names. Don't worry about it. Yajna and Yogeshwar, they're the more famous Manvantara avatars. Vamandev and Yajna also Lila avatar. Okay. And then Yuga avatar. So Satyug, it was Matsya, Kurma, Vara, Nisingha. Treta Yug, Vaman, Parashuram, and Ram. Dwapar, Krishna, Balram, and Vyasdev. Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya, and Kalki. Okay, I just thought I'd show it to you. It's not necessary. Okay. Any questions or comments on that? Excuse me.
Prabhuji, one question. Buddha is also considered as avatar?
Say again, please.
Buddha, Lord Buddha is also
Yes,
considered.
he's one of the 10. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't
Okay.
mention that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes, I should have put Buddha there as well. I was in a hurry trying to finish it, so I forgot. Yes, Buddha is there. Okay, in Kali Yuga. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, so I'm going to go back. This is the question. I'll go to text 101. Which again, we have covered already, but I'm going to read this. Chit Shakti, Swarup Shakti, Antaranga Naam, Tahare Vaibhav, Ananta Vaikuntadi Dham. The Chit Shakti, which is also called Swarup Shakti or Antaranga Shakti, displays many varied manifestations, sustains the kingdom of God and spiritual ideas. We covered that. Text 102. Maya Shakti, Bahiranga, Jagat Karan, Tahare Vaibhav, Ananta Brahmandera Ganam. The external energy called Maya Shakti is the cause of innumerable universes with varied material potencies. We covered that also. 103. Jeev Shakti Tatasthakya Nahi Jar Ant Mukhya Tin Shaktitar Vibhed Anant. The marginal potency, which is between these two, consists of numberless living beings. These are the 3 principal energies which have unlimited categories and subdivisions. Let's read the purport. I've covered this point already, but let's read the purport. Who wants to volunteer?
I
I
can
can-
read.
Go ahead.
So it's 103, right?
103, yes, bro.
The internal potency of the Lord, which is called Chitta Shakti or Antaranga Shakti, exhibits variegatedness in the transcendental Vaikuntha cosmos. Besides ourselves, there are unlimited numbers of liberated living beings who associate with the personality of Godhead in his innumerable features. the material cosmos displays the external energy in which the conditioned living beings are provided all liberty to go back to the personality of Godhead after leaving the material tabernacle. Yeah, the Svetsvatara Upanishad 6.8 informs us, na tasya karyam karanam cha vidyate, na tad samas chabhyas dikas cha drashyate, parasya shaktir vividhaiva suryate, swabhavika gnana vala kriyacha. The Supreme Lord is one without a second. He has nothing to do personally, nor does he have the material senses. No one is equal to him or greater than him. He has unlimited variegated potencies of different names, which exist within him as autonomous attributes and provide him full knowledge, power, and pastimes.
Yeah. So again, the point is that his energies do everything. He doesn't have to do anything himself, especially in the material world. So his energies make the variety available in the spiritual world as well as in the material world. We are there as the third energy, but we've been thrown in the material world, but the purpose is to go back. And that's the reason we've been thrown back, to go back to the spiritual world, back to him. Okay. Text 104. Emat Swarupa Gana Aratina Shakti Sabhara Ashray Krishna Krishna Sabhara Sthiti. These are the principal manifestations and expansions of the personality of Godhead and its three energies. They are all emanations from Sri Krishna, the transcendence. They have their existence in him. Excuse me. So once again, the energies and us, Mame Vansho Jivaloke, we are all part and parcel of Krishna. That's where our existence is. 105. Yadyapi Brahmanda Gunair Purusha Ashray Sei Purush Adi Sabhar Krishna Mula Ashray. Although the three Purushas are the shelter of all the universes, that Krishna is the original source of Purusha. So Purushas take care of all the universes. Like they're coming out, the universe coming out from the body of Mahavishnu. In each universe, Mahavishnu goes in as Garbhodaksha Vishnu, who expands as Kshodaksha Vishnu. And together they're taking care of that one universe. And the trillions and trillions of them taking care of their own universe. The point being, these Purushas are taking care of the material world, but their origin is Lord Krishna. Okay. 106. Swayam Bhagwan Krishna Krishna Sarvashray Param Ishwara Krishna Sarv Shastra Koy. Thus, the personality of Godhead Shri Krishna is the original, primeval Lord, the source of all other expansions. All the revealed scriptures accept Krishna as the Supreme Lord. Right? And again, next verse proves that point, quoting from Brahma Samhita. Ishvara Paramaha Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Krishna is known as Govinda, the Supreme Controller. He is an eternal, blissful, spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, for he is the prime cause of all causes. Okay. Text 108. Esab siddhant tumi jaan bhal mate tabupur pakshakar amachala ite. You know all the conclusions of the scriptures very well. You create these logical arguments just to agitate. Purport: a learned man who has thoroughly studied the scriptures cannot hesitate to accept Shri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If such a man argues about this matter, certainly he must be doing so to agitate the minds of his opponents. Anybody on this call who doesn't believe Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Raise your hand. Okay. Yes. Okay. 109. Sai Krishna Avatari Brajendra Kumar Apne Chaitanya Rupe Kail Avatar. So the whole chapter has been leading to this particular verse. So far, oh, I'm sorry, Mohit or Naina, you have a question? I just saw your hand, sorry.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, within whom this conversation is going on?
So there were 2 or 3 different conversations going on, and it might be confusing. So before, Brahma was talking to Lord Krishna after the Brahma Vimohan Lila. Now Krishna's Kaviraj is talking to anybody who argues Krishna is not the original Supreme Personality of God. So this particular 108 is still talking to people who, knowing that Krishna is God, are still arguing that he's not. I mean, original God. Okay?
Understand, Prabhuji. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Sure. So all this is leading to 109. What's 109 saying? Say Krishna Avatari Brajendra Kumar Apne Chaitanya Rupe Kail Avatar. So that same Krishna that we have proven now is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, source of all incarnations, source of all material and spiritual world, has appeared as Lord Chaitanya. So in other words, Krishna and Lord Chaitanya are non-different. That's the whole point of this chapter. That same Lord Krishna, the fountainhead of all incarnations, is known as the son of the king of Braja. He is descended personally as Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And actually, there is a very wonderful bhajan by Nautan Das Thakur who says, Brajendra Nandan Jai, Sachishut Hail Sai, Balram Hail Nitai. That Brajendra Nandan, Lord Krishna, appeared as Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Balaram appeared as Lord Nityananda. Okay, 110. Ateva Chaitanya Gosai Para Tattva Sima Tare Shirod Shai Kahi Kitar Mahima. So, which means whatever applies to Krishna applies to Lord Chaitanya also, because they're non-different. It's Krishna himself. It's not even an incarnation. It's Krishna himself. Okay? So, therefore, Lord Chaitanya is the supreme absolute truth. To call him Kshodaksha Vishnu does not add to his glory. So, I mean, Kshodaksha Vishnu is an expansion of Krishna. So, how would it make Krishna more glorified? You say, call him Vishnu. The same thing. 111. Seit bhakter vakya nahe vyabhichari sakala sambhave tate jate avatari. But such words from the lips of a sincere devotee cannot be false. All possibilities abide in him, for he is the primeval Lord. Okay? 112 is very important. Avatari dehe sab avatare sthiti keho kaun mate kahe jemanujar mat. So all the incarnations are situated in the potential form in the original body of the primeval Lord. Thus, according to one's opinion, one may address him as any of the incarnations. Somebody wants to call him Vishnu, well, fine. Somebody wants to call him Narayan, fine. Somebody wants to call him Krishna, fine. Because they're all the same anyway. Okay, so purport. It is not contradictory for a devotee to call the Supreme Lord by any one of the various names of plenary expansions. So, you call him Ram, you call him Nrsimhadev, you call him Kurma, they're all the same. Because the original personality of Godhead includes all such categories. Since the plenary expansions exist within the original person, one may call him by any of these names. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya 695, Lord Chaitanya says, I was lying asleep in the ocean of milk, but I was awakened by the call of Nara, Shri Advaita Prabhu. Here the Lord refers to his form as Kshodaksha Vishnu. So again, example being given, Lord Chaitanya himself saying, I am Kshodaksha Vishnu. But nothing wrong with that, because he is. Similarly, we say that when Krishna appears, he doesn't kill any demons. And people say, well, what do you mean? He kills so many. And the answer is no. Vishnu in Krishna kills those demons. But when Krishna appears, all the incarnations, including Lord Ram, Nrsimhadev, Matsya, Kurma, Vishnus, all the 3 Vishnus, they all appear with him. Because they are in him. Okay? 113. Krishna ke kahe kehu nar narayan keho kahe Krishna hoye sakshat Vaman. Some say Krishna is directly Nar Narayan. Others say no, he's directly Vaman. Well, they're all correct. 114. Keho kahe Krishna Chirod Shahi Avatar Asambhav Nahet Satya Vachane Sabar. Some say that Krishna is the incarnation of Kshodaksha Vishnu. None of these statements is impossible. Each is as correct as the others. So once again, Why argue? They're the same. Okay. In the purport, don't bother with the Sanskrit. Somebody wants to read the English?
I can read.
Go ahead, Gautam Prabhu.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
114 purport.
According to the intimate relationship
Sorry, you're
Sri
freezing.
Krishna, the younger brother of Indra, king of heaven, and sometimes Shirodakashaya Vishnu. Sometimes he's called the thousand-hooded Sheshanaga, and sometimes the Lord of Vaikuntha.
Me to be the host.
Yes, okay. Thank you. Okay. So Gautam Prabhu, sorry, you start again, please. All the way from beginning.
Sure. According to the intimate relationships between Sri Krishna, the primeval Lord, and his devotees, the Puranas described him by various names. Sometimes he is called as Narayana, sometimes Upendra, Vamana, the younger brother of Indra, king of heaven, and sometimes Shirotakashaya Vishnu. Sometimes he is called the thousand-hooded Sheshanaga, and sometimes the Lord of Vaikuntha.
Thank you, bro. So again, the point being made is different names are used for him, but they're all him. Okay, 115. कि हो कहे परव्यो में नारायण हरि सकल संभवे Krishna jate avatari. Some call him Hari or the Narayan of the transcendental world. Everything is possible in Krishna, for he is the primeval Lord. 116. सब श्रोता गनेरे करी चरण बंधन ये सब सिद्धांत सुनो करी एक मन. I offer my obeisances under the feet of all who hear or read this discourse. Kindly hear with attention the conclusion of all these statements. Okay, somebody wants to read the purport? Go ahead.
Prostrating himself at the feet of his readers, the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita entreats them in all humility to hear with rapt attention these conclusive arguments regarding the absolute truth. One should not fail to hear such arguments, for only by such knowledge one can perfectly know Krishna. Hare
Correct. Hare Krishna, thank you. So again, he's literally begging. He's offering obeisances at the feet of all those who hear or read this discourse. He's saying, please hear with attention the conclusion of all these statements. So what is the conclusion? In one sentence, anybody? Of everything that we read today and yesterday?
Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
No, you missed a critical word.
Krishna is the origin of all.
Yes. Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. All the others are Supreme Personalities of Godhead. But Krishna is the original, therefore the source of all of them. That's the main point. You should always understand that. You should be prepared to argue with anybody who says otherwise. So all these 100 verses are about that. Okay, 117. Siddhant boliya chitte na karo alas. Iha hote Krishna lage sudrih manas. A sincere student should not neglect the discussion of such conclusions, considering them controversial, for such discussions strengthen the mind. Thus, one's mind becomes attached to Shri Krishna. So, if we understand these discussions, then we'll be able to really fix this point in our mind that Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, source of all incarnations, source of all material and spiritual worlds. And when you understand that, then the mind will become attached to Lord Krishna. So we're going to read the purport and do the discussion because, again, very important that we understand this principle. So one paragraph at a time. Who wants to start?
Can I read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Purport. There are many students who, in spite of reading the Bhagavad Gita, misunderstand Krishna because of imperfect knowledge and conclude him to be an ordinary historical personality. This one must not do. One should be particularly careful to understand the truth about Krishna. If, because of laziness, one does not come to know Krishna conclusively, one will be misguided about the cult of devotion. like those who declare themselves advanced devotees and imitate the transcendental symptoms sometimes observed in liberated souls. Also, the use of thoughts and argument is the most suitable process for inducing an uninitiated person to become a devotee. Neophytes in devotional service must always alertly understand Krishna through the vision of the revealed scriptures, the bona fide devotees, and the spiritual master. Unless one hears about Sri Krishna from such authorities, one cannot make advancement in devotion to Sri Krishna. The revealed scriptures mention 9 means of attending devotional service, of which the first and foremost, is hearing from authority. The seed of devotion cannot sprout unless watered by the process of hearing and chanting. One should submissively receive the transcendental message from spiritually advanced sources and chant the very same messages for one's own benefit as well as the benefit of one's audience.
Yeah, thank you. So the point we often hear, sadhu, shastra, and guru. Saying our knowledge should be based on what we hear from sadhu, shastra, and guru, and nothing else. So advanced devotees, spiritual master, and the scriptures. You don't do anything outside of scriptures. You don't believe anything that's not in the scriptures. You believe everything that's in the scriptures. Similarly, we depend upon a spiritual master to explain these concepts, and we depend upon senior devotees to explain these concepts. And the second thing is, one should submissively receive the transcendental messages from spiritually advanced sources. Okay, so submissively means without challenging. Without challenging doesn't mean you don't ask questions, but you ask questions in support of what they have said for further clarification and elaboration. And that is called samvad. So the dialogue between in Bhagavad Gita between Arjuna and Krishna is samvad. Krishna, Arjuna, samvad. It's not vivad. What's vivad? Argument having opposite views, right? Vivad is having opposite views. And then this point is being made is that vivad should be there for right reasons, not just for the sake of it. So, for example, in any country, when you have opposition party and the governing party, the opposition party, their role is to argue and dispute anything government says or does. That's their role. Even when the government is right, they still argue. Because that's their role. And this famous story about a politician in India, his name is Lalu Prasad Yadav. And this is on the days when there was a campaign going on in India that one maximum 2 kids. And he had 9. Somebody asked him, how come? And he said, oh, not my fault, it's the government's fault. I said, what do you mean it's government fault? You are the one who has 9 kids. Why is government's fault? And he says, well, I'm in opposition. So they said 2 kids, therefore I have to have 9. If they said 9, I have to have 2. We have to disagree with him somehow or the other. That is the argument. So that is not acceptable. What's acceptable is that you ask for clarification. Arjuna asked so many questions, but they're all for the sake of further clarification. Similarly, in chapter 4, text 34, Krishna says, Tad vidhi pranipatena, pariprashnena seva. Pranipatena means completely surrendering. That means totally submissively. Pariprashnena means good questions. Not just any question, good questions. Questions that make sense, that have some use for you in your life. Otherwise, like, sometimes in our discussion, we say, don't worry about this detail because it's not doing anything for you. It's not going to increase your devotional service. It's not going to do anything for you. It's just detail. So same idea. Why ask questions that will not benefit you in any way? So pariprashnena means those questions will benefit you. Okay. All right. Next paragraph, somebody else?
I can start, Prabhuji.
Go ahead, Prabhu, yes.
Okay. When Brahma described the situation of a pure devotee freed from the culture of empiric philosophy and fruitive actions, he recommended the process of hearing from persons who are on the path of devotion, following in the footsteps of such liberated souls who are able to vibrate real transcendental sound, can lead one to the highest stage of devotion, and thus one can become a Maha Bhagavata. From the teaching of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatan Goswami, Madhya 2265, we learn Shastra, Yukte, Suripuna, Dharda, Saradha, Yantra, Uttama Adhikari Yei, Tare Samsara. A person who is expert in understanding the conclusion of the revealed scripture and who fully surrenders to the cause of the Lord is actually able to deliver others from the clutches of material existence. Shri Rupa Goswami, in his Upeda Samrita, advises that to make rapid advancement in the cult of devotional service, one should be very active, and advancement in the cult of devotional service, one should be very active and should preserve in executing the duties specified in the revealed scriptures and confirmed by the spiritual master, accepting the path of a liberated soul and the association of a pure devotees enrich such activities.
Yeah. So this is a very powerful paragraph. So first of all, that the pure devotee does not do karma or jnana. Okay, so that's first point. That's why anya bhalashta shunyam gyan karmadi navritam. Pure devotion is without any material desires, fruitive activities, or any speculation. Okay, so that's the first point. Second is that we must be hearing from proper devotees or advanced devotees, or even and follow the footsteps of Sato Vritta is the term used in Upadeshamrita. And so we should be following the footsteps of these pure devotees and learning from them. And again, following the footsteps means doing what they're instructing. And that's the only thing that will lead us to the highest stage of devotion, which is love of Krishna. So love of Krishna comes only from serving pure devotees. Mahat seva dwaram ahur mumukte. Rishabdev tells his sons that we have to serve the advanced devotees to get their mercy, and only through their mercy, Krishna's mercy comes. Okay? And it's only that person who's fully surrendered to the cause of the Lord, which means he's doing what Krishna has instructed us to do. And encouraging others to do what Krishna has instructed us to do. When that happens, then this person is able to deliver other living beings from the modes of, from the spiritual material world. Last point being made here is that to make rapid advancement in the cult of devotional service, one should be very active and should persevere in executing the duties specified in the revealed scriptures and confirmed by the spiritual master. So once again, we must be doing what the scriptures have told us to do. So tasmat shastra pramanam te karya akar what's the word? Tasmat shastra pramanam te karya akar 1623. I can't remember what's the 1624 actually. Anyway, basically saying, Krishna is saying that we should do or not do according to the injunctions of the Shastras, nothing else. Okay. Sorry, Mohit, you had your hand up. I'll finish my point before I.
Yes, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, my question here was the elevated Vaishnavas we are talking about here. Is it referring to Guru Maharaj?
No, it's them and Guru Maharaj.
It's them. So,
And
Prabhuji,
Guru Maharaj.
elevated Vaishnavas gonna be what's gonna be the definition of elevated Vaishnavas?
So these are advanced devotees who are already following all the instructions of the Lord and the scriptures, who are performing devotional service without any material desires, but doing this simply for the sake of pleasing Krishna.
So probably they're gonna be classified as sannyasis only then, because
Not
I
really.
don't know.
Like
Not
all the
really?
associates of Lord Chaitanya, most of them were not sannyasis. Advaita Acharya, Srinivasa Acharya, Vakreshwar Pandit, so many others. Srinivasa Acharya, sorry, what was the name? Sivadhan Sen. All these were all married people. They are grihasthas. So it doesn't have to be sannyasi. Yeah, it's more likely in today's world that it would be sannyasi, but it doesn't have to be. There's some devotees you meet every once in a while who are in household, but they're unbelievably advanced devotees. So sannyas is definitely not a condition.
Understand, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
All right, Hare Krishna. Any other questions from anyone? Okay, let's read the next paragraph.
I can read, Prabhu.
Sure, Prabhu. Rajan Prabhu, go ahead.
Imitation devotees who wish to advertise themselves as elevated Vaishnavas and who therefore imitate the previous acharyas but do not follow them in principle are condemned in the words of Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.24 as stone-hearted.
So sorry, Prabhu, let me stop you for a second. So here's the difference between imitating and following the footsteps of. Imitating is doing what they do. Following the footsteps is following the instructions that they have given us. That's the big difference. Imitation is very dangerous. Like Mother Yashoda chastised Krishna and bound him up with a rope. Don't try to do that, please. Right? So imitation is very bad. But following the instructions is what's recommended. That's what it means to say following the footsteps of. Okay, go ahead, Prabhu.
Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura has commented on the stone-hearted condition as follows.
Let's go to the English. Let's go to the English.
Those who shed tears by practice but whose hearts have not changed are to be known as stone-hearted devotees of the lowest grade. Their imitation crying, induced by artificial practice, is always condemned. The desired change of heart referred to above is visible in the reluctance to do anything not congenial to devotional way. To create such a change of heart, conclusive discussion about Sri Krishna and his potencies is absolutely necessary. False devotees may think that simply shedding tears will lead one to the transcendental plane, even if one has had not a factual change in heart, but such a practice is useless if there is no transcendental realization. False devotees, lacking the conclusion of transcendental knowledge, think that artificially shedding tears will deliver them. Similarly, other false devotees think that studying books of the previous acharyas is unadvisable, like studying dry empiric philosophies. But Srila Jiva Goswami, following the previous acharyas, has inculcated the conclusions of the scriptures in the 6 theses called the Shad Sandarbhas. False devotees who have very little knowledge of such conclusions fail to achieve pure devotion for the want of zeal in accepting the favorable directions for devotional service given by self-realized devotees. Such false devotees are like impersonalists who also consider devotional service no better than ordinary fruitive actions.
Yeah. So once again, very critical point is being made, and that is, it's not devotional service, is not about being sentimental. It's not about showing emotions artificially. So we do meet people who say, "Oh, Krishna is so wonderful," and they start crying. Well, they're not always the purest of the devotees. They may be, I don't want to say that none of them is, they may be, but it's not automatic conclusion. Just because somebody's crying when they talk about Krishna, or somebody's crying because they're reading Srimad Bhagavatam. They may or may not be. We don't want to be the judge, but the paragraph here is saying that you have to be careful. If it's a show, it's definitely not there. So what is required is the change of heart, which means change of heart from being stone-hearted, where there is no compassion in the heart, there's no love in the heart, it's not soft as butter, and so on and so forth. Right? So to change from stone-hearted to that kind of heart, where Krishna wants to steal it. So Makhan Chor becomes Chit Chor only when Chit is like Makhan. Soft like butter. When the heart is soft like butter, then Krishna wants to steal it, not with hard as stone. And so to do that transition, the change, what you require is to faithfully, diligently, sincerely follow the instructions of the advanced devotees, the scriptures, and the spiritual master, Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. That's the most important thing. A second important thing is that you have to realize what you're reading or hearing. What does that mean? It means that you will try to understand, how am I going to apply this? Okay, I heard this today. How am I going to apply this in my life? Well, otherwise, you may as well be reading a novel. Read the whole Bhagavad Gita, you may memorize half the verses, but it's like reading a novel because you're not applying it. So ask yourself, how am I applying whatever I'm reading? So actually the recommended process for reading scriptures is that when you're reading it, make sure you know the context. Make sure you understand what this particular verse is saying. And third, try to understand, how are you going to apply this to your life? If you don't do one of those, then it's just reading a novel. What's the use? You read today, forget tomorrow. And that's why you will see a lot of people say, well, I read, but I can't remember anything. Because we don't go to that stage where we say, let's analyze, how am I going to apply this? How does it apply to me? How does it apply to my life? What do I have to do to apply this to my life? Then you'll get the understanding. And then you get the realization. And this is why, for example, even the bhajans, the Gaudiya Vaishnava bhajans that we read, sing, we should sit back and say, let's see what does it mean. Because those bhajans represent the realizations of very advanced devotees. So you have Narottam Das Thakur, you have Lochan Das Thakur, you have Bhakti Vinod Thakur, you have Krishna Das, so many. You have Ras Khan, you have, who was there? Who was very popular bhajans? Anyway.
Bilwa
Mangal Thakur, thank you. Surdas, all those. So amazing. Even in outside Gaudiya Math, you have in Maharashtra, what's the name?
Tukaram Maharaj.
Tukaram. Such wonderful bhajans. These represent their realizations. Otherwise, you may just listen to Hare Krishna Mahamantra because that's what recommended. So we should be listening to these bhajans to try and understand the realizations of these advanced devotees and see how can we apply that. How can we understand it? How can we apply it? And that's the whole idea. Then only you'll be firmly convinced that Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then only you'll understand there's a need for loving Krishna, having love of Krishna in your heart. And then only you'll be able to get the desired change of heart from stone-hearted to butter-hearted. Okay? So that's basically, this refers to Shat Sandarbhas, the 6 books written by Jiva Goswami. So amazing books, very high philosophy, but if you can find the time, the desire to read them, it's really worth it. Okay? Collectively, they're called Shat means 6 Sandarbhas. Okay, text 118, unless there's a question. Okay. Chaitanya Mahima Jani Esab Siddhante Chitta Dृढ़ होया लागे Mahima Gyan होते. By such conclusive studies, I know the glories of Lord Chaitanya. Only by knowing these glories can one become strong, fixed in attachment to him. One can know the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only by reaching in knowledge a conclusive decision about Sri Krishna, strengthened by bona fide study of the conclusions of the Acharyas. So the point again being, if you don't understand the glories of the Lord, how can we be attached to him? The attachment by definition means there's something about this person you like. Something resonates with you. Something that propels you to be with this person or to be hearing about this person. That's what attachment is. But attachment always comes after the taste. Right? Attachment comes after the taste. So, for example, somebody can say, well, I'm attached to watching movies. Well, because you have taste for movies. I'm not attached to Krishna because you don't have taste for Krishna's name, Krishna's glories, Krishna's fame, Krishna's paraphernalia, Krishna's past. You don't have taste for it. I'm not attached to holy name because we don't taste for chanting. So that the taste leads to absorption. Absorption leads to attachment. Okay? So the first thing is taste. So that's why Rupa Goswami says, Ado Shraddha. What's the next thing? Tato?
Bhajan
Sadhu Sang. What's the next thing? Atha?
Bhajan
Bhajan Kriya. Fourth thing is Atha?
Anarth
Nivritti. Then what? Syat?
Nishtha.
Nishtha. Nishtha is firm faith. Then what's the next one? Ruchi. Ruchi is the taste. And then it leads to asakti, which is attachment. So they go in that sequence. So we have to first have the faith, firm faith, then you have the taste, and then you have the asakti, attachment. So for all that, you have to do these things. Right? Right now we are oscillating between Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, Asanivatti. We're going back and forth, back and forth. Okay? 119. Chaitanya Prabhure Mahima Kahi Bar Tare, Krishnere Mahima Kahi Kariya Vistare. Just to enunciate the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I've tried to describe the glories of Sri Krishna in detail. So that's the whole point. Krishna and Chaitanya are identical. But remember the discussion we had about subject and the predicate? What was the discussion? Anybody remember?
The predicate cannot be before the subject.
Correct. So in this case, what's predicate, what's subject? Everybody knows which one, Krishna or Chaitanya?
Sri Krishna.
Sri Krishna. Everybody knows Sri Krishna. Very few people know Chaitanya. So Chaitanya follows next. So Chaitanya is identical to Krishna. Well, Krishna, what does it mean? Well, I know what Krishna is. So therefore now I understand who Chaitanya is. Okay? So that's why he's saying, that's why I describe glories of Krishna in detail, because so then understand the glories of Lord Chaitanya. 120. Chaitanya Gosai e Tattva Nirupan Swayam Bhagavan Krishna Brajendra Nandan. Conclusion. Oh, it says that. The conclusion is that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the son of King Brajendra. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna. Brajendra Nandan Jai Sachisut Hoilsai. That Krishna has appeared as Lord Chaitanya. Okay. Finally, every chapter ends like this. Shri Rupa Raghunath Pade Jar Ash Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishnadas. Krishnadas Kaviraj is praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa, Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy. I, Krishnadas, narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita following in their footsteps, meaning following their instructions. Thus, in the Bhakti Vedanta purport of Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, second chapter, describing Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Personality of God. This whole chapter proves the point, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, or Krishna is Lord Chaitanya. Okay? So next week we'll start the next chapter. Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mohit.
Prabhuji, like there were two times you stated this statement that Krishna is original of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you said Krishna is origin of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all other Vishnus, they all are Supreme Personality of Godhead. Is that correct?
So let me rephrase what you just said. Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's the source of all other Supreme Personalities of Godhead, like Lord Balaram, Lord Narayan, Lord Vishnu, Lord Ram, Lord Nrsimha, all of them. They're all Supreme Personalities of Godhead. But Krishna is the original, and therefore the source of all these incarnations.
So, Prabhuji, in this case, when we concluded, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Original. That's what I said. He's Krishna. It's not even incarnation. It's Krishna.
Oh, it's itself Krishna. Okay,
It's Krishna. It's Krishna who's taken the mood of Radharani.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Sure, Hare Krishna. Any other questions or comments?
Thank you, Prabhuji. It was really very, very nice class.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed a lot. Like so many things are very, very new to me. The last statement which you just phrased, it was so beautiful. Like Makhan Chor will become Chit Chor if we have our heart like butter. So it's so beautiful narrated. It's like it it steal my heart.
That's great. Thank you.
It was
Well,
so beautiful.
then Krishna cannot
And
be
that's a
left behind.
statement I have to understand. I think then I understand the philosophy.
Very nice. Thank you. That actually shows a soft heart also, Krishna Sevaka. Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions or comments?
I can say, Prabhuji, one line only. No scripture in the world can give such a beautiful details of the Supreme Personality, of the original Supreme Personality of God, and what we are hearing from our scripture. Not
Yes,
even close to that, I can say.
we are very fortunate, Prabhu. You are correct. We are very
Yeah.
fortunate to have the literature we do.
Fortunate in every way, Prabhuji. Like we have recently, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya has appeared, and before that, Krishna appeared himself, which we can say long ago, but not too long ago.
Yes, yes.
Plus, I would say the mercy of our Guru Maharaj and our Param Guru Maharaj and Param Guru Maharaj.
The whole disciplic succession.
Our previous acharyas who bestow our mercy just for the sake of salvation, for the salvation of all of us,
Yes, absolutely, Prabhu. Absolutely right. Let's take
We will
advantage
stay
of that.
indebted to them, Prabhuji, forever, life after life.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
Plus, we will stay indebted to you too, Prabhuji. That is
No,
all
not
because
me.
of the mercy of our Guru Maharaj.
I'm just trying to follow.
I don't want to say that, but still,
And I thank you, Prabhu. I'm just trying to follow my Guru's instructions.
Thank you, Prabhu, so much.
Hare Krishna, Pushpa Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
We are so well, thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare
Usha.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you all.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Subhadra Mataji. Oh, you're there.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I'm not well.
Oh, no, what happened?
I actually, after the program, I came and I was sick.
Oh, no.